Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. What you are watching today is a business forum. Our subject today is marketing, and we have with us um, three experts in the field of marketing. We are going to introduce you to them in a bit. My name is Josefschein. I will be your host and mediator. And let's start off with introducing uh, Robert Goody Goodman, the past founder and CEO of Bucks Brothers, a boxing and shipping company. He's a two-time nominee in two separate decades of Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst and Young. How you doing today, Goody?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Joseph, for asking, and thank you for the beautiful introduction.
I appreciate you being with us today. And not to be outdone, we have with us Steve Rydin, owner at True Summit Promotions, where since 1994, they have been helping businesses and organizations with their marketing and brand awareness through innovative and creative promotional advertising and marketing products. How you doing today, Steve?
Doing well. Good morning, Joseph. Thank you for this.
So, and thanks again for joining us. I really appreciate the two being here, the two of you being here and sharing all your knowledge. And I have a very special guest with us today, Yasmin Flores, who is the founder, creator, and the host of Q&A Flores, which is a monthly virtual forum where business professionals can connect with other experts, find pertinent coaching and instruction to maximize their talents and reach their goals. That's a mouthful. Thank you for being with us. Yasmin, how are you?
Thank you so much. Good morning, Joseph.
All right.
Everyone.
So the subject today is marketing for everybody watching. You might have somebody who's just about to get their business started, some who might have been doing it for decades. Let's define marketing as it appears pretty much on just about every dictionary. And marketing is the process of uh, interesting potential customers and clients in your products and or services, right? But that is actually a very limited way of kind of going about it. So, Goody, let's start it off with you. What's your take on what marketing actually is? And you are muted. If you would unmute yourself, that'd be great.
Life marketing is the lifeblood of your business because marketing basically is sales. And without sales, you have no business because you need money to keep your business running, to keep yourself going. So again, marketing is so important and it's so key that it's just I can't even tell you that marketing crosses a lot of lines, goes into advertising. It passes a lot of lines. So what does it mean exactly? There's no exact definition, but what it means to me is getting your business successful to make yourself successful.
All right, very good. Steve, you want to take this one on?
Yeah, absolutely. So marketing is often confused or combined with branding, and they are two very different things. Branding is your logo, your tagline, your significant accomplishments, the things that you put out there to identify who you are and how great you think you are. I'm going to give you a little secret. Your clients don't care about any of that. They don't care about your logo. They don't care about your tagline. They don't care about your significant accomplishments. All they care about is how can you solve their problem, and how you get that message across. That's marketing.
All right, very, very good. And we will come back later on to branding because, while different, an integral part of marketing, we're going to come back to you on that. Yasmin.
Yes, actually, in that note, marketing is the person that is selling, the person that is if you could be selling the most amazing product, but it's always you. You bring that to the table, and marketing is the person that is giving that item, that's showing that item to a person. And like I said, like Steven was saying, Goody was saying, it's you could do as much branding as you want, but sometimes it always goes back to the person themselves. It's who you are and what you do, and getting your name as well as your product to be shown.
All right, very good. So we actually have, which is promotional and advertising. We have the face of the company, if you will. There's a little bit of trust involved in all that, and then the branding of whatever it is that we are selling. So, Goody, let's kind of go back, because you did find you were the founder of a company who was very, very successful, and you were very, very creative with its marketing and advertising. Why don't you give us a little bit of that, maybe spark people's imagination.
Sure. So when it comes to marketing, and again, like we've been saying, that it crosses many lines: sales, branding, all of that, and getting the word out to let people know what you do, whether it's selling a product or a service, is very important. So back when I started in business, and again, we're going back a little in time, there was the Yellow Pages. I'm sure you all remember the Yellow Pages. That was the one way to market and to advertise your business. And what I had to do back then, and I'm going to give you like an example of being creative, is how do you compete? How does a small guy that's starting out in business with limited resources go up against big, giant, massive corporations, i.e. like a thing like U-Haul or Ryder or Beacons Van Lines or any of these other companies? What you need to do is obviously step outside of the box, no pun intended, and be creative and think, how with my limited resources and using my knowledge, how can I stand out so that I could be seen in this Yellow Pages that was so big and very expensive? How could I stand out with a limited budget? So what I did back then is, if you all remember the Yellow Pages were basically a yellow book, right? They were yellow pages with black writing. Now, when I was advertised with these big companies, these guys were taking half-page ads, quarter-page ads, half-page, full-page ads. And again, if you remember those days, they were very expensive. So how did I stand out? What I did was I took the smallest display ad, and what I did was I put a knockout ad on there. What does that mean? I knocked them out. How did I knock them out? I put a reverse ad in there. What does that mean? Instead of having a yellow page in my ad, I had a black page with yellow writing. You could imagine the impact that when you turned to that page, that one ad that was the opposite of everyone else's ad, yet much smaller, stood out. Now, the good thing back in those days was that if you were more creative than the other person or the agent doing it, you had a year, okay, to go out and pound it, because Yellow Pages generally didn't renew for a year. Today, it's a lot different. It's a lot different world, and I'm sure we're going to get into that with digital, where that same ad could be recopied the next day. Now, remember, you had an advantage. You came up with it then. You had a year that you were able to do anything you needed to do before everyone copied you.
So you definitely needed some sort of creativity that would kind of outlast that year.
Yes,
right?
Of course. But
okay. So, you also had that 1 year for it to stick into people's minds. So there was a long time. Now it just goes away and something else kind of takes its place. If you don't mind, I kind of want to go to Steve. Steve, now, creativity is the first word in your slogan: creative and innovative promotional advertising. So let's kind of talk about, kind of grabbing and maintaining people's attention when it comes to advertising.
Sure. So I think a big part of that is connecting, and promotional products are a fantastic way to do that, because as you just said, in today's digital age, ads pop up and pop off, and you can put blockers on so that you don't even see them and all that kind of stuff. A promotional product is a physical item that is in front of you all day, every day, and can last for a very long time. So making creative use of that is really key. And what comes to my mind, of a client that's a construction company, but they have a very large dog that's kind of their mascot and is with him on all the job sites and everything like that. And he's a very friendly dog. So whenever he would see somebody, he would run up and jump up on them. And again, it's a construction site, so it's dirty, it's muddy at times. And so you would end up with these big paw prints all over your shirt. You know, you could tell if this guy has been on your site because you've got these big paw prints all over your shirt. So what he did is he went out and got a bunch of bag clips. You know, you've all got them in your pantry, these bag clips, but it's in the shape of a dog paw that would normally be used for like a vet service or an animal shelter or something like that. But he took the item and advertised his construction company on these paw-shaped bag clips and gave them out to everybody. And they made that connection that when they saw a dog paw, they thought of this guy. They thought of this. And even if it wasn't related to construction, if they saw another ad that had a dog paw on it, his construction company would come to mind because of his creative connection of that item or that object that's seemingly unrelated to his business, connected it to his business, and extended the reach even further.
Right. Interesting, because you're right. Usually I wouldn't associate a dog paw with construction, but and now these items, obviously I got clips in my pantry. I keep them there forever, almost like what we were talking about before, having advertising on what used to be the yellow pages. So I can see the connection there. So it's either having something sitting at your desk or having something that continually appears, maybe on, in advertising in any way, shape, or form. A while back it used to be yellow pages. Yasmin, I kind of want to, since a lot of the work that you do is with, with business professionals and with, virtual forums and what have you. Do we have that a lot coming up, where people are trying to find a way in which to stay in people's minds as much as possible, and how are they doing that in other creative ways?
Building relationships is one. Marketing is always about building relationships. And what our webinars, we actually rerun these webinars where we invite professionals, and the professionals, usually it's a master class for professionals. So it could be a new business, an old business, or you're just stuck. And especially with things changing so much, this is where we want to learn. So the webinars is inviting professionals to teach other professionals. And we have them always the last Saturday of each month. It's only an hour, and it's just building that relationship. So we are professionals, and we're educating and connecting professionals for success. So we actually bring both of them together. So at the same time, the speaker is giving their knowledge, and our viewers, our guests, are learning and connecting at the same time. And that's another way of marketing, because your name is still out there. And like I said, I'm not a professional, so I always bring professionals who are in the wellness, finance, business, marketing, and it's always to help you and to improve. And that's what marketing is all about, keeping your name out there and making sure that people know what you do. And it's building the relationship. And I always invite everyone, because I always want good speakers. And at the same time, we connect. Then they get to know our speakers and they connect afterwards. And, it's a win-win situation. And that's what, yes. So please come. It's always the last Saturday of each month.
Right. So keeping your company, it's the last Saturday of every month.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Very good. And we're going to give a little bit of that information later on. So for those who are watching us, they can join us. It's free, right?
It is
To
free.
join.
Yes.
It's free to join. Okay, so that's even better. So here's what I got so far. So marketing is a way of finding it's finding a way to either keep yourself, your company, or your product in people's minds for as long as possible. And you can do that by either advertising, having promotional products, and making connections with other professionals, or using yourself as an expert. Yeah, we good? Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of start exploring the world of marketing a little bit. And I took the liberty of kind of taking some notes. And there's one that Yasmin, you've been talking about, which is relationship marketing, and that refers to strategies and tactics for identifying consumer needs for the purpose of building loyalty. Relationship marketing leverages database marketing, behavioral advertising, and analytics to target consumers precisely and create loyalty programs and things to that effect. So there's really a lot of that. So let's just kind of imagine somebody is kind of getting started in the business. What would be one of the best ways to kind of create this relationship marketing? And anybody else, feel free to jump in. We're going to kind of create a kind of conversation out of this. So what would be a really good way of creating relationship marketing? Yeah. Yasmin, you want to take this on?
I was going to ask. This is
yeah, Goody. Anybody else jump in? This is going to be not a very long forum, so please feel free to jump in.
Goody.
Who's jumping in?
I'll
jump in.
Yeah, jump right in. Yes,
I'll
jump right in. Yeah.
Let me touch a few things that are very important for people that are just starting out a business. And let me go back to where I was, going back to the yellow pages, and I'm going to just take it a little forward too. Today we live in a digital age, obviously, and you need to get really on top of the digital age. And what do I mean by that? I started using maybe about 15 years ago, before anybody even knew what they were, and I knew they were big in Japan, I started using QR codes. And I'm sure now most of America is getting familiar with the QR code. Back in those days, they weren't. Today, by necessity, when we go out to, let's say, a restaurant or somewhere, we have to take our phone and go over the QR code. What does that do? And how does that help a business, you might ask? Well, what it does is it takes away those steps of how we used to do business in the old days by typing in http://www and put in the name, possibly spelling it wrong, taking a few minutes to do it. Today, in our world of fast pace, QR codes. Take your phone over it and you have your information instantly. And you could do that not only with your website, okay? This could be done with anything, your products, anything you have. And I know most of you are just used to the QR code for a website. But what I used to do is actually put a QR code on my products. So what you could do is, and this is really slick, and I was doing this back then, is you can attach a video to the actual product you're doing by a QR code. And what you could do is, when someone runs over that QR code, because the QR code never tells you really what it is, it kind of just gets your curiosity piqued. And so you do take your phone and you run it over there. You can actually display your product or something that you're selling, whether it's a service or, again, yourself or your product, through the QR code. So we'll go over more of this stuff as we go on with this, but let me give some time to everyone else to speak. And of course, Steve Rydin, who's a master at marketing and advertising, will be more to go on, more and more on this. So take it away, Steve.
Yeah, all right, no pressure. Yeah, so no, actually QR codes are a great element to use. You can use either a dynamic or a static QR code. So a static means it always goes to the same thing. Dynamic means that you can go in and change it. So for example, a real estate agent can have the one QR code, but they can have it go to different homes depending on whichever is the hot, product at the time. The other element you can do now with QR codes is you can actually, if you've got a simple enough logo, you can incorporate that logo in the actual QR code. And so that's a new development that's been happening. In fact, it's interesting you mentioned the QR codes, Goody, because I just worked on a project with a drilling company that they've got a really simple logo, but we put in the bottom right-hand corner of the logo a little QR code that's going on the travel mugs that they're doing. So then they just take the phone and put it over the QR code on their logo, and it takes them right to their website. So and it keeps the logo, the imprint cleaner rather than having a lot of words on it. And that's the other mistake that people can make when they're doing their marketing is they feel like they got to make that coffee mug or make that whatever a billboard and fill it with all sorts of information. And people like things clean. People like things simple. So how can you get the most amount information out with the least amount of effort and just making it attractive is really what it comes down to.
Keep it simple, sweetie.
Right.
You're absolutely right. Keep it simple. And one of the other things to add that is also, I noticed that business cards are obsolete. And this is one of the things, I mean, they're still there, but I'm noticing people are doing more of interviews or just promoting their business in a quick short video, and they're keeping it clean and simple. And that's what you want. You want to just who you are, what you do, boom, boom, boom. And that is one of the reasons why you go, okay. And cards are just becoming obsolete now. I don't see people handing out cards, especially with the situation that we're having. People don't want to grab someone's card. So that's a great idea of making a video of yourself or of your company and tell them who you are. Yeah.
Let me go back to what everyone's saying about simplicity. One of the first things you get taught in business, whether it's Business 101, is KISS. And what KISS is keep it simple, stupid. And again, I'm not trying to insinuate that someone's stupid, but simplicity is definitely the way we are. I mean, Amazon has become a giant company because it's very easy and very convenient. And as Americans, we get lazy. We want everything simple and easy. And what's really big in all of this stuff is consistency. You need to be consistent. When you see a billboard of Coca-Cola, it's the font is always the same. The colors are always the same. Familiarity is very important. Now I'm going to come back and show you. I have a business card that I haven't been in business for over 5 years. But when I was in business, this is a back of what my card looked like to show you how far in advance we were at that time. And if you could see right in that corner is that QR code, okay? I would suggest you put that on everything you have. Put your QR code, because if you don't know what it is, it'll pique your interest to see what it is. And the more you could be seen, and we're drifting into branding a little, the more you'll be recognized and the more you'll be shopped at or used. So for that, if you could take this out of there, it's very important to be consistent as well as getting your mark out everywhere.
Right. Yeah, and let me jump in here too with that. And this, I know this isn't a masterclass on QR codes, but it is a great marketing piece. And I just want to throw in one last thing on it is years ago, it required like a special app. Like you had to download a special app and then open up the app and then hold that onto the QR code for it to register and read. Now, all the phones have been implemented with the technology that you can just open up your camera and hold it, and it'll acknowledge or recognize if it's a QR code, and we'll take it there automatically. You don't have to do, the extra step. And that's why it kind of fell out of favor for a little while, because it did require a special app to open it, but that is no longer the case.
Yeah, that is true. That wasn't that long ago either. I kind of want to shift the conversation a little bit back to where we started. We kind of moved a little bit, which was relationship marketing. Now, relationship marketing, it would seem like, by using QR codes, you're actually moving away from that, but you're not. I'm still using business cards. I haven't had an opportunity to give one out in a bit because of the times that we are in. And for those who are watching it years from now, we are at the beginning of 2021, which was hopefully the tail end of a world pandemic. But there is something to kind of keep people's memory of you and that meeting. May it happen in an elevator or may it happen, when you're networking. And business card, even though I think you're right, Yasmin, it might be moving away from it, and maybe what happened recently will kind of help do away with it. Hopefully, not for me. I kind of like it, probably completely. But there's another type of credit card, business card. And there's another type of business card, which is the digital one. And even though it might seem totally impersonal, but you still need to possibly do it in person. Just grab your phone, either touch phones or just send it or what have you. And within those, you can put in that little video that you were talking about earlier. The technology is out there. But let's kind of talk about, introducing yourself to someone, that elevator speech that people have kind of talked about for a very long time. That is one of the basic ways of introducing yourself, even if it is one-to-one, introducing your business and your product to somebody. That is still out there, isn't it? Yes, that is still out there. Yasmin, I want you to talk about this because what you do is introduce professionals to other professionals, and what needs to happen is some sort of a long-distance handshake in your monthly meeting, right?
Exactly. This is the way we introduce people. The way we set it up is for people to feel comfortable. Like I said, you come in and our speakers speak, and then you connect, and just a simple phone call. And that's one of the things I wanted to touch upon, that it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, always reach out to that person. And that's where we're losing that communication. Reaching out to the person to either say thank you for coming or you're welcome, and always keeping that relationship going with your surrounding circle, because people are going to remember you and people are going to refer you. I know that I have referred a lot of the people, go, hey, this is a person that I want to work with. So that is one of the key, that always make sure you remember your clients, remember your guests, remember everyone that has been there, because that's the thank you and the please has seemed to kind of been going away. And I go back to the old ways to say, hey, those are, pick up the phone. Everyone is picking up the phone and just give a call to someone just to say, hey, to see how you're doing. And that's always nice to have that relationship and building relationships. That to me is number one, and it's the key of marketing. And there's branding, of course, there's other ways, but that is one to me that is very important. Yeah. And anybody wants to jump in?
Well, we talked about the fact that digital is definitely where the way that people are kind of handling it, but there is a little bit of a throwback happening. Postcards, right? Receiving a postcard in the mail. I think Steve could probably attest to this. Receiving a postcard in the mail, one that possibly something that you haven't received in years, really kind of will stick in people's minds. Steve?
Absolutely, and actually that's what I've seen happening this last year is we've moved to a lot of mailable items because they don't have the foot traffic coming into their office. They don't have the trade shows or the conventions that they're able to get their information out. I just did this for a real estate company in Denver, a postcard where they featured some of their house listings, and then they attached a letter opener to it. let us help you zip through 2021, and a little marketing phrase on there. And then they mailed that out to prospective clients or people that might be looking for houses or that live in that neighborhood where they had houses on the market, to see if maybe they wanted to sell their house, and so, but yeah, the mailable, people still like that personal touch. People still like getting that, and getting mail, believe it or not, people still like getting mail. How many emails do we just delete without even looking at it? It could be some amazing stuff in there. But yeah, if you really want to capture the attention, give them, if you really want to capture their attention, it costs a little bit more, but you put it in an envelope and you put an item in there that's got a little bit of a bulk to it, so that when they get it, it's like there's something there. It's like the secret surprise in a box of Cracker Jack. It's like, I've got to open this now because I got to find out what this little lump is inside of this envelope, and you guarantee at least getting it open.
But do not send items that tick, right?
No
Steve?
ticking
Nothing
items
that
and no
ticks.
powder.
No ticking
Yeah.
items.
No,
Okay,
or
but
powder.
otherwise,
Yeah,
whenever I get some sort of a bulky item, it's the first thing that I open. So I can definitely see that. So let's connect some of the dots, right? Interpersonal, some sort of a meeting. It might be on a digital forum, maybe on Zoom or something, or maybe meeting someone in an elevator, getting their information, and then keeping in touch with them, either by phone, email, text, or even sending them advertising material through the mail, and then incorporating the digital that we started talking about with Goody. Incorporate that QR code, and that's the connection between the old school and the new school, right? You're going to want to open the mail because you haven't received one in a while, and then you have that QR code. You bring your cell phone to it, and then you can open up the rest of the world to them. Maybe your website, a product or something. Yeah, Goody.
So you gotta watch. Yeah, you kind of have to watch out. It's a great idea. I've done it, and it works okay. If you could direct market your piece, targeted to who you wanted, as opposed to just willy-nilly, just sending them all, you'll end up broke because, between your postage, your card, and everything, especially if you're sending out to a lot. Now, number one, coming back to what I was saying about the yellow pages, if you're sending a postcard, which is what we always did back then, because, people throw things away, and, they throw postcards away also, but you want a postcard that's going to knock your socks off. So you have to look at it. The good thing about a postcard is you don't have to open up anything to get to your message across, because it comes to you and you see the message right in front of you. You need it to, I'm telling you, you need it to knock your socks off. And in the case where it's not targeted, like I said, you'll see that a lot of companies have shied away from it. Years ago, you used to have companies send you all of these magazines and all of these things through bulk mail. And it just got so expensive. And the return, again, this is all about your ROI, your return on investment. So if you're putting money in, you got to get money back out. So again, me personally, when you talk postcards, which I do like, it's got to be targeted. You got to go after your audience, because otherwise you're just throwing money away. It's great to have your name in front of people, but if they don't need you and they just look at it for a second, they're not going to spend enough time to get retention.
But so, yeah, please.
I was going to say, if I could jump in too, with you, what you had talked about earlier with the elevator pitch. I think there's something that we miss a lot with our elevator pitch. Is we feel like, okay, we got 30 seconds. We got to tell them our entire life business history in these 30 seconds. And as I said at the top, people don't care about that. What they care about is what their problem is. And so what I try to do when I'm doing my elevator pitch is I always try to go second. I always want to let them talk first, find out what their business is, see if it's even a fit, see if even what I do will fit what they do. But then through what they talk about, then I craft my pitch to potentially solve a problem that they might have. And I always include a question in that. Do you deal with XYZ, or do you ever have an issue with XYZ? And they're like, well, yeah, I do. Well, you know what, what we have here could help accomplish that, or take care of that, rather than just spewing a bunch of information at them and hoping it sticks. It's finding that emotional connection, because that's, people buy off of emotion. They don't buy off of facts and figures. They buy off of emotion. And if you can connect emotionally and solve a potential problem, they're all over it. And then I always try to finish it with, would you be okay with us starting a conversation about this? And rather than, hey, can I email you? No, no. Hey, can I call you? But say, hey, would you be open to starting a conversation? And it's just a much softer way and more opening way to say, well, yeah, let's do that. And then now, I can email them and call them, and we can get that going. But yeah, always try to go second. Identify, ask questions, key.
It's a,
So coming back to, can I say something? Coming back to what Steve said about asking questions, he's 100% correct. In sales, that's one of the most first things. Is always ask questions so you can get the answer yes. So it's very important to ask questions. It's also important to get familiarity and to know what this person's looking for, or what you can help them with, things like that. And also, like, if you're going to pitch someone at their office, you always look around their room to see if there's something that you could talk about that you have in common with them. Take the walls down, make them feel comfortable. As far as the elevator speech, that's great. It's awesome. But if you're trying to run a big, giant company with multiple locations, you can only be in so many elevators. So there's not that much of that going around. Now, if you're in a small business where you're dealing with clients, with things like that, yeah, it's perfect. It's great. But if you're looking to, let's say, throw that net down and get hundreds of customers, then you need to do things that'll generate hundreds of customers.
Yeah.
So,
to your one, I'm just going to add one thing that it's been lost: listening to your client. And being a business owner, a marketer, or anyone, you really need to listen to your clients. And like what Steve was saying, it's a great suggestion, Steve. Always listen or go last and end up with a question and see what their needs are. And that's where
right.
a lot of marketers, I can tell you, a lot of business owners are losing that craft. They don't want to listen, but it's important to listen to your potential person that you might be doing business with.
Yeah, it is often said in networking that people might forget what you told them, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Right.
Right. So then by kind of accessing that way that you made them feel, then they can go back to that information and go, oh, you know what? Now, in that way, that would be a good way of targeting any kind of promotion that you would do, because, targeting mailing material, and, you don't want to spend all that money just sending it to just anyone. That would really be kind of like not knowing who you are targeting your commercials on TV to, right? And just kind of creating a commercial and hoping that somebody will stick. But that's also true for some of the more modern marketing. I kind of want to move us on to the next one. I wanted to
say something?
of course.
Yeah. So listen, one of the most important things in business, and it's should be one of the first things, is you need to know your customer. You need to know who is your customer. Without knowing that, then of course, like Joseph said, you could run broke just trying to advertise and market to them without knowing who your customer is. So it's key. It is so important to know who your customer is.
True.
Right. So now I'm not very good at this myself, which is, for example, Instagram. A lot of people use Instagram to promote themselves. They kind of, start formulating different marketing techniques, and then whoever responds to them, then they start kind of building their brand, or they start really targeting it towards them. I'm not good at this myself, but it is part of what's going on, if you will, the wave of the future. So I kind of want to move us to social marketing. So once again, I took the liberty of getting the definition of social media marketing, which is a tactic that taps into the growth of social networks, encouraging users to adopt and pass along widgets or other content modules created by a brand, or to add a brand to the user's social circle of friends. So almost saying that, by using this method, you're tapping into other people's pre-existing social networks, right? Who here uses social media in a really great way? I actually don't know.
I think we all
Well,
use it out of necessity. I think you could ask all of us, and we all tell you pretty much something about social media. It's very important. I mean, there's no, other than maybe television, there's no way that you can get to the masses for such a, let me say, a low price. Again, I don't know a better way of saying that. You can get to the most amount of people with the least amount of spend through social media. So it is very important. Just like in life, being very social does help you. It's sort of like who you hang out with, and that's part of your circle, and your circle makes you. So as far as social media, I'm a big believer in it. I'm a big believer in the internet. I've loved it from the minute I was on it. So again, it's something that never changes, and the great thing about it is it does change all the time, in a sense that social media and everything on the internet's about content. And you always will hear the word content is king, and how the internet gets better and better and better and better is by fresh information. So the more new, fresh information you can put on there will always stay in the computer or on the internet. It's very important. It never disappears. I mean, if you've seen the movie years ago, I think Social Network or something about Facebook, is that everything on the internet that you do is written in pen as opposed to pencil. You could never erase it. Google keeps every keystroke that's made. I mean, I don't want to make it sound bad, like you're being watched or but that's good.
A little big brother there.
Right. That's not bad. That's good, because the whole thing in business is being seen. You want to be seen. You do not want to be seen. So I always suggest to people, through their personal and their business, always be plugging your business, because it's always there. It's always a part of you.
And just to add to that note, and I'm glad you brought that up, Goody, because yes, you're always going to be seen. So my suggestion to a lot of newcomers or even old comers, stay away from politics and stay away from religion.
Oh, yeah.
That is one of the key ingredients to be a successful and keep continuing building, is stay away from that. Okay, that's one of the things that I always suggest to anyone. It's like, don't add anything political to your social media, because it will come back and bite you.
Yeah.
No matter what side you're in.
And I will say too, I am no means a social media expert, but social media is here to stay. It's a powerful medium, but it's also very nuanced and layered, similar to what Yasmin just referred to. If you do want to get into really using social media marketing, you need to seek out somebody who knows what they're talking about, who knows the nuance and the psychology that really could come with it, to really make sure that you're maximizing your efforts with your social media. But what I do know about it is, if you're going to use social media for your business, you need to make your post consistent. You need to have a consistent look. You need to have a consistent feel. to what your posts are, and you need to do it regularly and often. And it's a commitment. If you're going to dive into the social media world, it's a commitment to really do it well. But I know when I'm scrolling through my Instagram, I don't even have to look at who posted it. Just by what's posted, I can know, oh, so-and-so did this. And then I look back and go, sure enough, that was them, and because they were consistent with their look and with what they put out there. But yeah, if you're gonna dive into this, I would recommend getting somebody, bringing somebody on who really knows what they're doing, because it's a whole new world.
So let me add something to that. You're saying if you do this and if, I'm going to be honest with everyone that hears my voice. You have to do it, okay? It's like breathing air. You have to do it. If you want to build a brand, if you want to build your company, if you want to build what you're selling or your services, you have to do it, okay? Like I've been telling people for years, before the internet was around, okay, that you could be giving gold and diamonds away for free. No one's going to come if they don't know. So you need to get the word out. And like Steve said, and I did say this before, is consistency is key. You need to have that same look so people will get familiar to it, so that when they see your post, they know it's from you. It's very important. The web, if you think about a web, is exactly like that. In investing, they say that you need to have a stool approach, like 4 legs to a stool. Like in case this leg's not good, the other 3 legs keep you up. Well, so in marketing and advertising, all that comes along with your business, you need to be out there, and the web goes from one to connect to another to all over. So the more you're on there, the more you have that's saved up in this big thing called the web. So it's very important. I mean, I wouldn't, and bringing back to what Steve said, if you don't know how to do it and it is a lot of work, hire a professional. Look at someone that's already doing it and see if you like what they're doing and ask them. There's a lot of people that tell you that they're professional and they're really not that great, especially in a field that's only been around 15, 20 years. So buyer beware, if that makes you anything. So, you can always ask us and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Yeah, and I think the big takeaway through all of this is that Goody's giving away gold and diamonds for free. I think that's the big takeaway. So.
You guys didn't even know it.
That's what I got from it. I kind of want to start again bringing all the different subjects together. I kind of want to connect the dots. One of the things that we keep on bringing up, even if it was the yellow pages way back when, or if it is social media today, branding, right? So if you make it always look the same, it's a form of branding it, right? Correct. If you stick to a certain subject and you speak in a certain way, it's branding. Even there are apps out there, even if you post images and you put a little, I'm going to do it right there, a little logo or your name. And I know that every time I see Steve and we are in a business environment virtually, he's got the True Summit Promotions background right there behind it, right? It's a way of branding, keeping into people's minds. Now, of course, you want to stay away from religion and politics because, at times those are very controversial. But as long as you keep your brand on point, and I keep on pointing to this little corner right there, because that's all you really need to do, then people will continue to remember. And then they will say exactly what Steve said. Oh, yeah, I know who this is from. And I can rely on them, or I can rely on that product, or, all right, very, very good. I kind of like that. Now there is another, a little bit more progressive, something that I've looked into myself for my business. I know I didn't mention it before, but I'm a DJ and a master of ceremonies. I do a lot of, networking, hosting of events such as this one. One of the things that I've looked at in the past was influencer marketing, which is, and again, I'm going to use the written word on this. According to the Association of National Advertisers, influencer marketing focuses on leveraging individuals who have influence over potential buyers and orienting marketing activities around these individuals to drive a brand message to the larger market. Now, that wouldn't necessarily be something that a small, tiny business uses, but influencer marketing is the kind of thing that happens when a celebrity comes into your business or uses your product, and then they go online and they kind of promote it for you. Now, is this something that somebody should be looking into doing? It's probably very costly, or is this something that is kind of viral and just kind of happens on its own?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both, but absolutely, small businesses can take advantage of it. And here's how they can do it: is they can get a product. For example, I've got because see if I had one here, but I don't. I've got a mortgage company that the mortgage doc is his thing. And so one of the items that he uses is a little stress reliever, a doctor stress reliever. A cute little guy, and then it has on the back, it has his name and contact information. But then what he challenges people to do is take this little guy and take pictures of him all over the place. And you'll see him showing up at restaurants and at events or out in the country or at scenic views or monuments or whatever, and then hashtag a specific hashtag on it. And then with that hashtag, you can see where all the places that this little guy has been. And it's a way to use, it's not so much influencer, but it's a way to use kind of a viral means that doesn't cost anything other than just the item and getting it out to people. And then just letting them know, okay, take a picture of this guy somewhere and hashtag it. And then it just starts building up. And the people are like, well, I'm gonna outdo that. So they put it in front of this building. I'm gonna do it from the top of the building, or something like that, and so but so there's a way to create community is really what it comes down to: creating community, creating intention with it. And hashtags are a very powerful way to do that. That doesn't cost anything and is accessible to any size business.
All right. Very good. Yeah, Goody.
Yeah, so let me come back to, I'll be coming back to this also because it's very important with the consistency part of running your business. You could see by going to Steve, and you could see how important it is for him to brand and get his name out, because besides his background that's behind him, look at his shirt. His shirt has his logo and everything, which is consistent with what he's doing. Now, this irks me a lot because I run across it a lot. A lot of business people want to be half pregnant. And what do I mean by that? I mean that I see them and they're going out, and let's say they're making a delivery of a product, or they're going to visit a client. What boggles me is, why is there not, at the minimum, magnetic magnets on your door with your ads on there, right? Your car's all over the place. You're advertising to follow you. So what I hear mostly from everyone that I ask this question to that aren't doing it is, I don't want to have to pay the extra insurance, or people are going to come after me because I'm commercial, things like that. Look, if you don't want people to know about your business, and you don't want them to know that what you do and not do the branding and do all that, then don't do anything. But if you want to be successful and you want to build a brand and you want to build on your business, you got to fall over. You got to put it on your car or your van or your truck, because what if you stop and someone looks over and goes, well, I've been looking for that, or it's parked. Now, I used to work before this. Before I started my business, I used to work for a very successful moving company that you guys might remember from the 70s called Starving Students Moving Company. And what we used to do, now remember, we had a great name, had a great gimmick, everything was perfect. But what did we used to do? Every Friday night, we would take the trucks and park them over an overpass. Why? Because when everyone's driving the freeway and they'd look on that overpass, it's a giant billboard. Okay, so getting your name out, no matter how it is, and your message across is something you should always be doing and something that should always be on your mind.
So I just thought of something, incorporating the two ideas. You get your truck and you take pictures of your truck in various locations around town.
I've
and
done
use
it.
that as part of your marketing.
Listen, I have it and I've done it and I do it. There's nothing better or more powerful than a shot of multiple cars or multiple trucks with your name on them. Besides it giving you trust,
There you go.
you see that it's larger than what it could actually be.
And everybody assumed that they were all students. I remember those advertisements. Everyone's
Correct.
students, and we want to help them.
Correct. I mean, they did a great
And
job.
if I remember correctly, that advertising on the side of the truck was also very simple. It wasn't very
Correct.
complicated.
Correct.
Right?
100%. Yes, sir.
Advertising.
I think that's all it said.
No,
Starving students
it had
moving.
Well, we'll get past this really quick, but let me just go real quick. It had starving with a heart and then students. And then our tagline was, we put our heart into every move. So, and you know, coming back to that now, are also very important. And you ask why? Because sometimes you can't remember the person or the product, but you could remember the tagline. And Steve is one of the best, got one of the best taglines. And again, I'm not here to, you know, but I'm telling you that I always remember his tagline, and everyone does. Steve, why don't you, what's your tagline? Oh, I'm sorry, Joseph.
Tagline's very simple. True Summer Promotions, get remembered.
Stay remembered. Yeah, so by now, those who are watching and might be watching from somewhere far away, they realize that we actually know each other. And this is actually a really great advertising for relationship marketing. You know people, you trust people, you put people together in a virtual forum to speak about a subject that you know those individuals can bring value to others. This is why we are here. So I'm kind of bringing the whole thing back to where we started, which was relationship marketing. It's not necessarily something that you need to do in person. I used to attend before, over a year ago, I used to attend 3 meetings a week because I could. And because guess what? I liked doing it in person. Now I'm doing the same, but I'm doing it virtually. The only thing that means is I can actually attend more meetings, and I can attend with people that before I couldn't attend those meetings. So let's kind of talk about marketing, if you will, as yourself. You as an individual are marketing for your company. So, we talked a little bit about, for example, wearing an outfit with your name on it, but you as an individual, you really are the best marketing tool that your company will ever have. That's why we have mattress companies having their CEO, do commercials. And, there was which one was it? Was it Wendy's that had their CEO do the commercials for them?
Yeah, back in the day, yeah. Dave Thomas.
Yeah.
Dave Thomas, that's right. Dave Thomas, right side. I couldn't remember his name, but I knew that he was the one. Lee Iacocca used to be the talking
Lee
head.
Iacocca was also a customer of mine, but yeah, Lee Iacocca also. Chrysler.
Yeah, so aside from everything, he used to be the CEO of Chrysler, right? Sure. So let's talk a little bit about that, because the best tool that a person can have and that they bring with themselves always is themselves. So let's talk a little bit about that. How can a person get better at being their own marketing tool wherever they go?
Well, I think the biggest thing is your attitude. And really always coming across positive, always coming across pleasant, happy, believing in your product, believing in what you do. And this is what I'm seeing a lot, especially now, a year into the pandemic, and a lot of businesses being challenged and really struggling. But you cannot let that come across when you're talking to clients or when you're promoting your business. You cannot have that desperation come across, because trust me, they can pick up on it. People can pick up on it. Clients can pick up on it. And what it does is it gives a sense that you don't trust yourself. You don't trust your business because you're in fear. And that fear comes across to clients. And so they're not going to want to trust your business. So it's really important that you get centered and focused as to who you are, and not so much where you're at right now as a business, but where you want to be. And always keep that in your mind, always keep that in your focus, so that when you're talking to clients, you're presenting that to them, and you don't let them see perhaps the fact that maybe you haven't had a sale in 2 weeks and you've got rent coming up here really soon. You know what? So does everybody else. And if you start putting that across, it's not going to give the message that you want it to give. And so it's really important that you're looking at your attitude and how you're showing up around your business and your product and whatever your message when you're talking with other people.
Indeed.
True.
So to be successful, you need to think successful. And you're right, it's all about attitude. You have to be positive to deal with negativity. It's just not, it's not good. It's not healthy, and it's not good. So you're 100% correct.
Yeah. Nobody wants that guy that keeps on screaming, "We got water around us," when we are all in the same boat,
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
definitely, I kind of want to bring something. The fact that I always thought of those who I got to a place of trusting, that they were the expert at whatever it is that they were working on, right? So, I believe Yasmin mentioned before that she's not a professional at, electronics, or she's not a professional at auto mechanics or what have you. But she is the professional that I know when it comes to bringing people together in virtual forums and presenting their business or presenting their expertise. So she's the one that I go to, and in this case, Goody, who's a marketing expert, it's the one that I call an expert. Even if you don't necessarily call yourself that. When it comes to marketing materials and advertising products, then Steve Rydin comes to mind. So let's kind of, if somebody is listening out there, what would be the best way to come through as an expert in whatever field you're in, right?
Your attitude.
Anybody out there? Because
your attitude.
Ways that
It's your attitude and how you present yourself.
Attitude.
It's like what Goody said. You always have to show people, hey, surround yourself with positivity. Always feel confident in yourself. Oh, believe me, I get so nervous when I'm talking to people, but I'm always, you know what? I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe in what I do, that hopefully, it shows. But it's the attitude and the positive, being positive with what you do.
Yeah.
I think a big part of it too is what you're not saying when you're talking to the client. If all you're doing is coming on hard around what your product or what you're trying to push, and that's really all you're coming, they get that sense that he's trying to sell me something. But if you are clear as to what you do, but again, you make it about the person and you talk about them, and find out what their needs are, and maybe not even talk about so much what you do, but really focus on them. It shows that level of care and connection. It's like, okay, this is the guy that knows what he's talking about, and he's got something that might be able to really help me. He's not trying to just push something on me because he's got a quota to fill.
Right.
Yeah, also you have to remember, there's things like body language. You could be throwing off and not realizing that you're throwing somebody off by your body language. Now remember, you only have one time to have a first impression. So make it count, because you only have one time.
It's true. True. So a lot of businesses kind of work off of the ABCs, which means always be closing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be a pressure tactic, right? You know, it can be educational. It can be really definitely creative. So I know that when I sit down with a client, you know, we're talking about their next celebration, whatever is going on, and we're trying to figure out how they're going to uh, put it out there. While I'm really, to a certain extent, trying to get them to, you know, close a deal with me and sign on the dotted line, but in reality, it's all about the conversation of who it is that they are, what it is that they need. You know, even sometimes things that they didn't realize themselves. You know, a lot of conversation about family, you know, and family values, right? Yasmin.
No, I was going to it goes back to listening to your client.
Oh,
Definitely.
absolutely. It's a lot more listening and a lot less talking. It's the reason why we have two of these and only one of those. Somebody had said that to me once. I can't remember who that was, but I want to thank them at this moment. Yeah, definitely that. Now we've kind of covered quite a few subjects, giving you know, people who are just getting into the business a lot to think about. Definitely ways of not throwing their money away, not throwing something at the wall, making sure that it sticks. We also talked about getting creative, spending your money wisely, and then even using themselves as a marketing tool. Just so we can start closing it down, we kind of want to go around the circle, giving you an opportunity to tell us about, you know, some tips and tidbits about marketing. What would somebody do, even though they've been in business for a very, very long time? What do you think, Steve?
You know, I think going back to, you know, we talked about marketing, but also branding is also important. And I spoke on this not too long ago about the whole idea of, you know, top of mind awareness. And, you know, you want to make sure that your business is on that front page of people's minds. And whatever that takes, whatever that looks like, so that when they think of your business or service, they're thinking of you. And so what do you need to do to keep those touch points out there, so that they recognize your brand, they recognize who you are and what you're doing. Because as Goody said before, and I use this tagline a lot as well, if people don't know you exist, they probably won't buy from you. And that's really where it comes down to, is letting people know that you exist, and how do you stand out, and just finding what works best. What's the best way for you to do? For some, it might be a promotional product. For some, it might be social media. For some, it might be a mailer. You know, it's and just finding out what that is, and being consistent and sticking with it.
Very good. Yasmin.
Yes, mine is keep it simple, sweetie. Keep it simple. It's just listening to your clients, be respectful, make sure that you know exactly what they want. And if, like, I have a service. So my service is bringing people with knowledge. I'm not the one that is knowledgeable in finance or or business or any other type, but I always want to make sure that I bring someone to make that, I guess, make me shine also, because it also helps me and making those connections, building a relationship. And again, keep it simple, sweetie.
All right. Very good. And Goody, I'm going to give you an opportunity to kind of, you know, have a few
Well,
last words.
boy, you know what? I forgot what I was just gonna say, which is crazy. But, wow, I had something really good to say, and it just slipped my mind. Wow. Look, it's
Which can look, it can happen. It can
yeah.
happen, especially when you have sometimes a lot to say. So you know
No,
that's perfectly fine.
you guys had great suggestions. You know, give me the question again. So maybe it'll tick back that thought that I had.
All right. Yeah, we're closing it up with tips and tidbits about marketing, even for those who have been in the business for
Okay,
a
so I
long
now I
time.
remember what I was going to say. Perfect. Thanks for bringing it back to me.
Of course.
What I was going to say, and this is why I forgot about it, because it's what it is. Throw as much shit against the wall as you can,
Cool.
because some of it's going to stick. That's really, and you know, when you come and you want to market or advertise or brand your business, there's not just one way. there's a million roads, and I suggest you take them all, because they'll all, what you want is they all lead to one place, and that's to you, and bottom line, that's sales, right? Because that's what keeps a business going, is sales. And it all comes back to marketing, branding. So I suggest you throw as much of that stuff against the wall as you can. And whether that's selling, whether that's sending postcards, networking, social media, doing a commercial on cable TV. These are all ways, and not one will be the perfect way, but they'll all work together if you keep it consistent, which is something that we had throughout this whole conversation, was consistency.
Can I add one more thing?
Very, very good.
One
Of
more
course.
thing. I'm going to add one more thing. Don't be scared. Fear is one of our worst enemies. Always, like Goody said, throw whatever's going to stick, it's going to stick. And if it doesn't work the first time, try it again. Try, because that's how you're going to grow and you're going to learn. So, again, you know what? Don't be scared of fear. Just go for it.
You know, it's a good point. A lot of things don't always work the first time. And, you know, like Domino's Pizza is a classic example. They were not, you know, they went through a point in the beginning where they weren't going to be around. And if you think about it, they go against all the rules in advertising. If you look at their box, what does it have on there? It has a domino.
Domino.
What is that domino? What's the number on that domino? 2 and 1. And what is 2 and 1? Yeah. What is 2 and 1? Is craps.
3.
2 and 1 is crap. That's crap. 2 and 1 is craps. So
Okay.
with all odds against them, it worked.
Okay. So just to make sure that everybody understands, we're not crapping on Domino's, because I love a lot of this stuff. Yes. Yes. So there was something about, I'm sure, you know, some thought went into their blue and red domino kind of thing. Somewhere in the 80s, they created the Noid. What did they create? The Noid? Is that the one? You know, it was at the same time marketing genius and very problematic, because nobody knew what the heck was that. I think the point by introducing that was that you're gonna get a really good pizza that wasn't squashed. I think that was the whole point of having Noid, or was there more to that, Goody?
Well, their claim to fame was 30 minutes or your pizza's free.
Yep.
Right. That was their original. Yeah.
The Noid came after. That was
So again, maybe finding some sort of a strategy. You know, you get it within 30 minutes, or you get it for free as a strategy.
Sure.
You know, you won't lose your shirt as long as you can live up to it. Right. Very, very good.
Prices,
Excellent.
if you're starting, sometimes prices, it always helps. It's like new businesses always give away prices, because people love those giveaways. That's also another suggestion that also will help your business to grow. Do a little fun activity, because right now people are like, okay, what to do, or what can I do to make my business grow? And prizes or little activities where you want to, like, Wheel of Fortune has this giveaways, but you have to watch the show to see that, you know, the bonus prize word and or the phrase or the sentence. And those are always good to actually keep your clients or your people active. And that's really one of the suggestions I could give.
Yeah.
And
Invite people.
Wait, there's more.
Yeah. Invite people to your business. Don't be scared. Invite them there. Have a mixer at your location. You know, coming back to what you're saying about giving things away, invite them to your business where they're trapped there for a little while, and you can get your message across because they're there.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I'm going to throw in a couple of little interactive things. We're looking forward to opening up businesses again and having people back in the stores. So once you do that, indeed have giveaways, but make sure that somehow people remember you. One of the tricks that I've used before when I was hosting live networking events, was for those who wanted to give away items that would always have their business card attached to them. And I know that some of you think that business cards are going away, but they are really great ways of letting your host know who give the prize away. And instead of just giving it away and people going like, hey, thanks, what you are now doing is you are saying the first person to dial this phone number, and the first phone number that gets across to my to not to my number, but the number of the person that gave that away. So now what happens is every single person at that event has that company's phone number on their phone because everybody tried to get through. So and that just puts you one step closer to going like, hey, you know what? I got Steve's phone number. I might as well put Steve's information in, you know? So one little trick, once you go back into the live world, use it. How about that? Yeah, that works. All right. Well, we've been around for about, for quite a while now. I hope that we gave a lot of the audience a lot of some really great information. We are an education, and we are educating and connecting professionals. And we do this very, very often. A lot of the information for Yasmin, for Goody, and for Steve is going to be either in the description or somewhere around, depending where you are watching this presentation today. We want to thank you very much for being with us today. My name is Josefschein, and have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody.